Hello, here's some video from a flight that I was doing this evening. Unfortunately, it's only the DVR footage because the RunCam 3, as I mentioned in my video review earlier, it has this really annoying habit of, after you've been using it to access the files, like you plug it into your computer by USB cable, and then you unplug it, the auto off feature doesn't work after you've been doing that. So I just left it overnight and it went flat, and then I came out to do this flying this afternoon and couldn't use it. So anyway, but I managed to do some good flying, or I thought it was pretty good. So I thought I might use this as a backdrop just to have something to look at while I talk about what I actually wanted to talk about, because if I just talked about it with nothing to look at, it would be very boring. And what I wanted to talk about was some forums, discussion forums that I set up probably about a month ago now. And the reason I set these up, the discussion forums for flight controllers, so Betaflight, CleanFlight, iNav, I also put RaceFlight on there as well. And the reason I did this was because I just cannot stand the way the RC Group's threads work. And I use the term thread very liberally because a thread is supposed to be one thread of discussion, so it's one topic. And somebody will, start the topic, other people will chime in with maybe more questions or hopefully more answers. And then at some point the topic will probably be resolved and it won't be touched very much longer. But the way things work on RC Groups is just every single topic related to, in particular my problem is with the CleanFlight iNav thread. That's the one that I use the most on RC Groups. Although having said that, I don't really use it that much because I just can't stand the way they work. But the problem is they got dozens of different discussions and people all sort of talking over the top of each other, and it's kind of difficult to figure out who's talking to who and what they're talking about and where the previous post was for each discussion. Like, you've got to go back, you've got to keep reloading the page to go back and then back and back and try and figure out how this discussion started. And then if you make a discussion yourself, you come back the next day, and especially on the Betaflight thread, which has now got 3,000 pages, would you believe, of posts all in one single thread. So that's moving very fast. So if you go back to that the next day and try and figure out whether somebody's replied to you, you've got to go back maybe 2 or 3 pages sometimes and try and pick up anybody's reply who's been talking to you. So yeah, it's just really annoying. And I had a problem with the barometer on my big hexacopter a while ago, and I wanted to ask a question, and I just couldn't bring myself to ask it in the RC groups. So I thought, okay, I've been thinking about setting up these forums for a while. I'll do it now, and so I did. But of course, because nobody knows about them, I still had to ask that question on the RC groups thread anyway. So anyway, the forums are up there. It was not very well received, unfortunately. I sort of posted some info about it on the RC groups threads and in the CleanFlight IRC chat room and on the Betaflight thread as well. But it seems that the momentum is very strong to keep continuing on RC Groups threads. And that's understandable. I mean, they're already there and they work well enough for the most part. I guess other people just don't find them as annoying as I do. I mean, I really think these flight controller topics are too deep and detailed to be covered by one single thread each. So anyway, my forums are there if anybody feels like using them. If you don't feel like using them, don't, I guess. And that's all I have to say about that. Thanks for watching.